Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle what might be the biggest, most fundamental question anyone can ask. Who or what exactly are you? I mean, really think about it. Are you just a bunch of atoms clumped together in a clever way? A pattern of electricity firing in your brain? Maybe a ghost piloting a biological machine? These are the answers we usually hear. But what if they're all based on a flawed map of reality? Today, we're going to explore a pretty radical framework that gives a completely different answer. So here's the game plan. We're going to start by looking at a totally new map of reality. Then we'll use a powerful analogy, thinking about a book, to help it all make sense. From there, we'll uncover this huge illusion we all have about time, see what that means for something like free will, and then we'll finally land on a really profound new answer to that big question. All right, first things first. We have to adjust the way we think about reality itself. The way you and I experience the world, moment to moment, well, that's not the whole story. Not even close. The framework we're digging into today suggests that the actual territory of reality is way, way grander than we think. So on the left, that's our default setting, right? Time flows like a river, the past is gone forever, the future isn't written yet, reality is always becoming. But this map, it has its limits. The new map, over on the right, says something wild. The whole story, past, present, and future, already exists all at once as a complete territory. What we call time, well, that's just our personal journey through that territory. Now, to really get a grip on this new map, let's use a fantastic metaphor. I want you to imagine that all of reality is like a single, finished book that's just sitting there on a shelf. In this framework, the universe is what's called counterspace. It is the book. Every single event, from the very beginning to the distant end, is already a page in this massive, complete volume. Nothing is being created in the moment, because the whole story is already there. It's already written. So how is this giant book organized? That's where foliation comes in. Just think of it like page numbers. It's simply the geometric structure that puts all the content into a specific sequence. Now listen up, because this next part is absolutely critical. The page numbers are not time. They just give you the order of the pages. That's it. So if foliation is just the page numbers, then what on earth is time? Well, time is the experience of reading the book. It's the feeling of turning from page 1 to page 2 to page 3. The book itself doesn't flow, right? A book just sits there. The reader is what flows through the book. Time, then, is just an artifact that comes from reading the pages one after the other. Okay, now for a really cool twist. So we've been picturing the pages of this book as being all neat and perfectly flat, but the reality is actually a lot more complex and, honestly, a lot more interesting than that. This quote right here is the key to the whole thing. It basically means our perception, our mental map of the world, is always a cleaned up, simplified version of what's really out there. We see the smooth highway on a GPS map, but the actual territory has potholes, rocks, and hills. It's definitely not smooth. And this illustrates that difference perfectly. On the left, you've got the illusion we all live inside, this smooth, continuous, flowing experience of time. But the reality, on the right, is that the underlying structure, that foliation, the pages, is actually rough. It's jagged. It's irregular. It's more like the terrain of a mountain range than a straight line. So if reality is fundamentally rough, why does it feel so smooth to us? Well, get this. It's because of our own consciousness. It acts like a filter. It's like a cartographer that takes all the jagged, chaotic data of the real terrain and draws those nice, clean, smooth contour lines on the map for us. That smooth experience of time, it's something our consciousness literally builds for us. Okay, this leads to a massive question, doesn't it? If the entire book of reality is already written from cover to cover, what does that mean for free will? Are we just puppets reading a pre-written script? Well, the answer is way more nuanced than you might think. First off, the story has a structure. It's built around these things called invariants and singularities. The best way to think about them is as the unchangeable plot points. They're like the spine of the book. They are the fixed anchors that give the whole story its shape, and they create the fundamental rails of reality. But this is where your choice comes into play. You can't change those major plot points, but you can navigate the paths between them. This is what's called corridor navigation. So imagine a story where the main character has to get from city A to city B. They can't just decide not to go to city B, but they can choose whether to take the forest path, the mountain pass, or the river route. That choice, that navigation, is real. And this means we have to separate two different kinds of freedom. On the one hand, you have shadow-level freedom. That's the technical choice between the paths that already exist in the story. But then there's a much deeper freedom, mind-level freedom. This is the genuine power to control your attention, to choose how you interpret the story as you read it. So now we can start to bring all these pieces together. We've talked about a new map of reality, the illusion of time, the nature of choice. So let's circle all the way back to our original question. Who are you? And maybe the best place to start is by saying who you are not. It's this simple. You are not an object inside the story. You are not just a collection of atoms or a brain or a body that exists only on the pages of the book. All those things, they're part of the observable world, the shadow, but they are not the essence of you. So if you are not the character written in ink, then who are you? Well, this framework gives us a clear and really powerful answer. You are the reader. Your true identity, what this framework calls the mind, is the subject that is actually having the experience of the story. You aren't an object in the 3D world. You're the experiencer, operating at the level of the whole book, that counter space. And consciousness. That's your most important tool. It's the filter, it's the lens through which you, the mind, read the pages. It's what smooths out that rough reality for you, and it's what determines what you notice and what you ignore. So your deepest, most real freedom isn't choosing between paths in the story, it's choosing how to aim your lens, how to focus your attention, and how to interpret everything you see. And that leaves us with a final, pretty profound thought. You are not the ink on the page. You're the one holding the book. And that story is vast, it contains infinite detail. So knowing that, what part of it are you going to choose to focus on next? The choice is entirely yours.